let me just say, wanted to talk about one of the most meaningful topics. There are many meaningful topics, but a game of infinite meaning, in a way, is improving yourself, improving as a human being, improving as a brother, sister, improving as a family member of your community, improving physically, mentally, spiritually. And it feels like in this world of, we are unsure where we will get our meaning from job or where. I think that is a super meaningful place to start. Improving yourself and then maybe improving your community and others and this
Yeah.
infinite game. So we can also talk about other things, but that was kind of the one.
No, it's a good one. Yeah, it's such a fascinating thing. There's some camps of people that are super devoted to improving themselves. And
Yeah.
that's like just like super clear, Um, sometimes they're not actually as focused on actually working in the real world though. And then there's some camps of people that are kind of all focused on the traditional work structure and everything, all, build something.
Yeah.
But this is the idea that they could change themselves to better be more efficient, to have a happier life. It's not really a muscle yet. That's not really a habit. That's not really an idea, right?
Yes, it should be the kind of a number one value. Like you have your values, one of the top values,
On the top.
because it will influence all the other things you do,
Yeah.
be it your
Right.
business or your subjective reality or whatever
Right.
it might be.
Yeah, we always are experiencing everything through our minds, and we have agency on how we act.
What are you right now most excited about when it comes to this improvement of it could be you or your community or
Self-improvement for me right now is focusing on a lot of things. I've always got tons of different lists of different strategies and patterns that I'm building, and I have been focusing on a couple things. One, a lot of it has to do with just general prioritization of energy. And I think sometimes we treat our brains as if they're infinite in
yeah.
capacity, and our attention as if they're infinite in capacity, and our time, and prioritizing around things allows us to connect and contribute.
So you
More.
pick more consciously what you spend your energy on.
Right.
Am I hearing right?
And the trick for me now that makes this a lot easier is that I have a very clear sense of what I should be prioritizing my energy towards:
What is that right now?
connection and contribution. And that, I think, for the rest of my life. I think those are the simplest things that I found that make me happy, at least, and probably most people.
One concept I like about when you said the rest of my life, I like the concept of a season. It's a season of your life. You can do this.
And this
'Cause-
season,
Yeah, for it doesn't have to be. It can be a month or a season of 5 years. You don't know. It's like a life season. And for me, it's easier to commit to do something, some improvement. If I don't, I'm not like fuck. I gotta do this for the rest of my life. But I
Yeah.
can do it for a season. So connect and improve community. Yeah.
yeah, connect and contribute. Yeah,
You said something interesting about energy. Because everybody wants energy, more energy. And it's a little bit, I don't know, mystical even. You can be super depressed, and then someone says a few words that inspires you, and suddenly
Right.
you have energy. It's a
Right.
little bit, it's not totally physics related. It's more kind of mindset and, I don't know, maybe
No,
your
it
chakras
is.
are open
No,
or whatever.
true. Yeah, generally my system for motivation, when it works right, is to cultivate emotion. And it's like a whole neurotransmitter or dynamic that happens within our nervous system.
Say more. Double
We
click.
can be tired, right? Cheers. We can be physically tired and fatigued, but what I've found is that oftentimes when I'm tired, it's more because of whatever my environment is like, and my system is saying that it's not worth it to expend energy, or it doesn't have the resources to actually push things towards, right?
So it's not actually physical exhaustion. That's the,
No, I think that's actually a lot rarer than we think it is.
yeah, it's so hard to get there.
Even, yeah, sometimes it's hunger, more often than we realize as well, but I really do think, I mean, it's boredom a lot of times, but it's not just boredom, it's actually like,
Not understanding why you do the things you're doing.
and not having a strong feeling. And that is something we can actually intentionally cultivate. That's a big hack.
Tell me, how are you doing that right now? Like, cultivating this feeling for.
Yeah. Well, kind of like getting excited about the future place, feeling a sense of anger, sadness, empathy for problems in the world. Just trying to spend like intentional time thinking about something until I get an emotion as a means of preparing myself to have more energy to do it.
And do you have to repeat this? Every day you try to go back to the project. You felt emotion on Tuesday, but now it's Friday. Kind of, do you then get back into that mindset?
That's why it's an intentional cultivation. Yeah, you have to, yeah, give yourself the opportunity to feel, because we kind of just get stuck in these thoughts, right? But thoughts don't move us. Thoughts transformed into emotion move us.
I like that. Allow emotion to move you.
Yeah, and intentionally cultivate it. That's a good one. That's my main energy one. Building a habit around that has been difficult
Yeah.
to remember to do that enough and everything.
One of my favorite books is Untethered. It's a difficult word. Untethered Soul. The idea is that you have this kind of, one of the ideas is with regards to energy, that we for some reason shut down our energy center at times. Someone says something to trigger you, or you, it could be something, and for some reason we shut down.
We shrink.
Yeah, we shrink. And his whole idea that nothing is worth shutting down.
Right,
You
exactly.
should always stay open. And it's interesting because I can relate at least. You have some things you're ruminating over. Maybe it happened like 6 months ago or something. And it's a bit annoying that it's still stuck in your mind. That is something that's still stuck in your energy. And his way to solve it, because that is taking your energy, is to, whenever it comes up in your consciousness, stay open, feel it, and let it kind of pass through you.
Right.
And this feels very nice to do. I enjoy it because it allows me to deal also with negative emotion or whatever state I'm in. I can take that, be the witness of that.
Be the way, right. Not have to necessarily do something immediately.
And I feel like I'm doing something good. Before it's like, fuck, I'm having this negative thought again. But now the reframing is, nice, I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go and I'm opening my heart to it, and it feels better. And then it doesn't have so much hold over me. I have more energy.
And you don't shrink.
Yes, but
Right.
as you said, it's hard to make it a habit.
A habit.
To remember to do it every
Thinking
time.
is the first step, but not nearly the last. To know the way is not to walk it.
This is so sick that it's super easy to understand something intellectually, but that's just the first step. You need the second step.
But
of
it's the
action,
same.
and then you can
Right. There's so many connecting points here. It's the same thing with thoughts don't move us. Emotions do. Emotions are this deeper kind of more like full being that has more inertia essentially. And so if it has more inertia, it also means to program that
Yes.
has more inertia than just
Holy shit! I never thought of that. Yeah, true. Better to program your emotions than program your thoughts.
program your intuition and your emotion. Yeah. Your emotion and response in the lower areas. Yeah.
But they somehow are more. Your thoughts are more in your control. Even they are not. It's like this fuzzy area of internal programming.
Yeah, right.
It's a bit intuition. It's not like.
The thoughts are easier to move. They're like pebbles, whereas an emotion is like a boulder. Once it's going, it goes. It moves us, right? But we have to. If you're just trying to move yourself with thoughts, it's like throwing pebbles at a giant boulder across, on a cliff. But if you can actually ramp it up to emotions, it's like using a lever to push it down the hill, kind of thing.
Go ahead.
That whole idea is related to this kind of concept that just like all of these things connect to the idea that we need resources in our brain to have energy.
Yeah.
We need to be resourced. Emotions is generally neurotransmitters. Exercise is generally blood flow and endorphins. I'm not sure exactly how that. And then regulation, which is one of the things you were mentioning. That sense of like not shrinking, right? It's also blood flow.
Probably true. Yes, you're not tensing, or you're just.
There's this process that happens in our brains that comes from our survival instinct where since our brain uses 20% of our energy, which is a pretty enormous amount, generally resting when it's in its safe space.
Yeah.
It uses 20% of our energy. If we're running from a tiger, any little percentage of extra energy we can have in our muscles counts. And so we get into a survival mode, we actually literally allocate resources away from our brain, away from our prefrontal cortex. It's really quite expensive.
Yes, this I feel one of the best kind of insights for the 21st century, when we're all the time a bit overstimulated. There's like cars, notifications, ding, ding, ding.
Right.
You're in a bit of a fight and flight, stress out state, and that is actually taking away from your mind
It shrinks your world.
where you would want to be more. It's a beautiful point.
Yeah, so it's all, so I guess all of that is about, it's all about how can I best resource my brain and how can I best understand its limits.
I like this idea of resources, like basically. But what do you mean
Yeah.
understand its limits?
Well, it's like the brain needs resources to produce something. That survival process that pulls blood away from the brain is is a product of the fact that
Yeah.
our resources are actually finite. For some reason, when we consider our brains, we don't think of them as finite. We think of them as infinite. So often we think we have infinite capacity, infinite attention.
True. It's also a bit that it's clear that you have more or less energy, you can be more or less intelligent depending on your state.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we don't really notice this state because it's like
Right, right.
improving, like with 5% up, 5% down, 10%
Yeah.
up, 10% down. If you would have a meter that's saying, like, now
Yes.
this is your current state,
Yes.
we would want to be much better at kind of improving it.
Yeah, so that's cultivating sentience. This whole thing is cultivating sentience. Understanding our capacity is cultivating sentience. Understanding our limits is cultivating sentience.
Yeah.
Understanding where we're at. It's cultivating this kind of modeling of our own model, right?
Right.
Which is kind of what personal development is one of the biggest parts about personal development. Consciousness, right? Being aware, right? That's this extra process, but that is one of the highest dimensions of reality. It's one of the most expensive processing
Yes.
that you can do. Social processing, self-aware processing, it takes a lot of energy.
I've often thought of that some people, spiritual leaders, say you should rest in the state of consciousness all the time.
Uh-huh.
But that is a costly process.
Yeah.
And sometimes you go in a flow state, you lose sense of yourself, probably because
That's actually quite good.
because you don't want to
You don't need it.
waste energy. So it's an interesting point that you can't. What is? Sometimes I think of neurons as an idea is formed by neurons, and another idea is formed by another subset of neurons. But there's overlap, so you can't have them both at the same time because they're using similar neurons.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not sure if that's how it works, but
Okay.
it feels
Sure.
like that's how it could
Well,
work.
yeah.
So if you have running the process of meta consciousness all the time,
Yes.
maybe that's also taking away from your capacity to think of something
Yeah.
else at the times.
Yeah, and so there's another thing about understanding our capacity because when we're in our consciousness, when I like to call it a conscious line, this consistency, right, of what can stay in that. It's logically progressive. I was born at this time and then I had all these experiences up until now, and I'm kind of consciously simulating all of that in this moment to produce
Your story.
my story, my being, my identity. Understanding our capacity is also understanding the limits of what we can actually fit in that conscious line, what we can actually be aware of at a given point, and realizing just how much more capacity for processing and graceful action is underneath that layer, and when to not need it to all be up here. Like I like to say that there's, like, if you imagine this to be what the part of the brain, like this nice orb here, the part of the brain that can fit in our conscious sentience, like
Yeah,
in
right,
our
right.
conscious awareness, right?
Yeah.
Our brain's capacity is like a sphere that goes all the way out to here.
It's all in the
like
unconscious,
Our intuitive.
Yes,
Right? And we can
yes.
bring more of it into this, but it's costly. And so like knowing when to allow this to work and not try to just restrict our whole existence down
okay,
here.
now I
Right?
get what you say. Yes, this is also a beautiful point. You kind of want, I imagine it like you are the king of the kingdom. You cannot be checking on every
Yeah, yeah.
person fixing the horses.
That's-
And
yeah.
you just have to let them
To
be.
delegate a little bit
Yes.
to your intuition and
And
parallel
trust.
processing.
And sometimes go and look, like, how is it looking, and then But
Yeah,
yes,
right.
trust, and that comes back then to allowing your system to work as good as it can work. To
And
have-
programming the
Yeah.
intuition so we can trust it too, right?
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
I once ate a lot of mushrooms, and I got that vision that I was kind of sitting on a throne in the kingdom, and I realized that this is my my kingdom, my internal state, and I could go in the rooms, but I realized the way is not to go into every room and check. It's just to be kind of there at the seat and allow it to function. I've been playing with the idea of like this, your internal reality is the root of everything else. Like what you say is downstream from your thoughts. Maybe your thoughts are downstream, but it's all starting from this internal kingdom. And that's where you want to, if you want to affect some change in the real world,
Yeah.
you should really see how it affects you you should start with the internal
Right.
state.
That's what my mom likes to say. My mom likes to say, make sure you've done your imagination work before you try to iron it out in 3D.
Yes.
Utilizing our full capacity for simulating what we want, imagining the whole situation and the details, and then like seeing it going the way that we want and preparing ourselves and making it feel normal that it could go the way that we want, and then programming our intuition to make micro actions that would lead us towards the goal, right?
Like programming your intuition, kind of acting as the gardener of your internal garden. And
Right.
it's not like forcing it to grow a certain way. You just prune away the stuff that's not good, and then you allow the flowers to bloom.
Right.
It's also a part of being aware what thoughts and emotions are there. Because you could be doing something really nice in the real world, but if internally you're thinking about you're angry and you're thinking about some
That's going to affect
frustrations,
every little micro action that you do in the world.
sooner or later, maybe you can for a while do that, but sooner or later it's going to affect.
Yeah.
And that I think many people don't appreciate, or I'm trying to appreciate that
No,
more.
we have agency over what we think.
Yes,
And
but
we
it's
can-
hard.
But it's hard.
Yeah. But for instance,
But it's powerful because
Yeah.
every single little detail will affect. You know, like if you what is it? If you point somewhere, you're more likely to go there, right?
Probably, yeah.
And like, yeah. And then also the basketball player. Have you heard of the basketball player research where one half of the basketball team imagined playing basketball, imagined practicing, the other half actually practiced,
no,
and they improved the same amount,
that I've seen a lot. We
right?
should
But it was a
imagine.
lot less energy expenditure
Yeah.
for them to imagine it. Yeah.
Should definitely spend more time imagining. I like to make the
Yeah.
example of if you're trying a new diet, you can eat the right foods, but if you're every day thinking about donuts, you're like, fuck, that donut looks delicious. Like, sooner or later, it's gonna affect the reality is gonna present itself. Like, there's a donut, why not? And then you're gonna have the donut.
Yeah.
So I feel like when going for a diet, you should be doing the diet, but also thinking differently.
But here's the thing: we can't negatives, just like imposition, they're pushes. They're pushes, and pushes are to me an illusion. They don't exist. Everything is pull. Our brain rejects pushes. It wants to be pulled.
So in the example of the diet, how would you frame that?
So rather than seeing that I'm thinking about donuts all the time and saying, no, don't think about donuts, right? Don't think about an elephant in the room, right? Think about something else. Think about a jaguar,
Yes.
right?
This
Think about the world we want. Imagine the world we want. Imagine the place we want. Imagine healthy food. Think about yourself loving to eat healthy food. Thinking about yourself learning
Yes.
how to make really good healthy food. Think about yourself disciplined, right?
That's the deeper point.
aspirational,
Yes,
directed.
the deeper point of when okay, your thoughts are important. How do you change your thoughts? It's not so simple that you just push away the negative. That's gonna end badly. And it's kind of nuanced. There's many tricks, but one of the best ones is insert positive patterns, different patterns.
Yeah.
And then the other trick I like is also this kind of non-judgmental view. That when it comes up, you need some way of
Yeah.
kind of, because if your internal model is every time I have this donut thought, it's a bad thought.
Yeah.
That's gonna like affect your state
And it'll shrink you.
and shrink you. So you should have also the model that every time I have the donut thought, it's like, ah, nice, this is a way for me to release that.
Yes.
And even if it happens 6
Happy
years
no
from
better.
now, I'm like, oh, thank God, I got this
Grateful for
this
the
chance to stay open.
Opportunity,
Yeah,
and grateful for the opportunity to work.
yeah, it's the work.
Towards it. Grateful for
Yes.
the journey, like grateful for the opportunity to be here and play in the separation, play in the fact that we're not perfect yet.
Yeah.
Like that's good. I mean, it would be boring if we were done already.
It would be boring.
I mean, it'd be nice to be done at some point, maybe, but we should have fun right now.
Yes, it's fun because there's like improvement to be made, and we haven't figured it out. And it's an infinite game. You improve, you understand better your reality, and then you can see more ways to improve.
Right.
And maybe sometimes you're like, oh fuck, I'm too optimized for improvement. I should be like enjoying and not caring too much. It's like,
That's an improvement. In
yeah,
itself.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
I think we got said what we wanted to say.
I think we did some good things there. That was good.
I'll do
Yeah,
some
there's
edits.
promise. There's promise there. I think.